welcome to week 3 of our Complete Beginners course. Hopefully you've done week 1 and week 2 because this is going to go on from those two classes. So I'll link them below. If you haven't done them, I would go back and do them first. In today's session, we are going to be looking at non-stealing. And when we're talking about non-stealing in a yoga context, we're not talking about like don't go and bash a granny over the head and steal a handbag. It's more don't steal the moment from yourself. So it's really common, especially in the modern world, for us to always be living a little bit in the future or a little bit in the past. How many times have you um, maybe done something and instead of thinking, oh, that was fun, rob yourself of all the enjoyment out of it by going, oh, how can I do that again? How can I get better at that? How can I make that bigger and more extravagant? And in yoga, it's that time to come back to the moment and remind yourself that this moment that we have right now is the only place that we have to live in. So let's live in it. And in today's class as well, we are going to be doing some stuff kneeling. So if you want to get a cushion or a blanket to put under your knees, I would pause the video and go and do that now so you can definitely have comfortable knees. Let's begin with our check-in, our grounding part of the class. So if you want to come to a comfortable position for yourself, for me that's sitting cross-legged, for you that might be sitting on a chair, it might be sitting however you're going to be comfortable, or it may be sitting cross-legged. If you are sitting cross-legged, you might want to put a cushion under your bottom, or you might want to put a cushion under your knees. I don't teach with props in these videos simply because I don't know what you have. So if I don't know what you have, I teach with nothing. But if you have props, feel free to use them. So I want you to lengthen up through the back, bringing your shoulders in line with your hips if you can. And let's either turn the gaze down towards the floor or close the eyes. And we're going to do something called a breath mantra. And a mantra is a repetition of a phrase. And this can be in your head or it can be out loud. Today's mantra is going to be in our heads. And it's a breath mantra because we are going to align it with the breath. So as we're breathing in, I want you to just say to yourself in your head, I arrive. And as you're breathing out, I want you to say to yourself in your head, I relax. I arrive. I relax. And if you want to, you might do that Ujjayi breath that we practiced last week. That ocean breath. And know that your mind will wander when we practice these exercises. No one's expecting you to keep your attention on them the whole time. But when you notice you're thinking about something else, just really gently and compassionately guide yourself back to the breath. We're going to do this for another minute or so, and I'm going to be quiet so you can do this in quiet. One more. And just turn your attention to whatever's going on around you, bringing yourself back to this moment. And if you have distractions, so if your washing machine's going, or your kids are screaming, or your neighbour's mowing the lawn, don't push those distractions away. Let them form part of your yoga practice. If you try and push them away, you're just going to get irritated. This is the secret of a home yoga practice. It's never going to be quiet and still unless you live in a monastery, which I'm assuming you don't. And then we're going to slowly make our way around. And I want you to come to your hands and knees. So if you want to, you can use a blanket under your knees, you can use a cushion under your knees. You might even want to roll up your yoga mat so you've got some cushion. And I use quite a thick yoga mat, to be honest. My yoga mat's a cork one, and it is quite padded, so I don't need to put a cushion under my knees. But if you want to, you absolutely can. I definitely do when I use the studio mats in the studio. So when you come to your hands and knees, let's just make ourselves as comfortable as we can. So some people are going to find that they can place the tops of the feet on the mat quite comfortably, and some people are going to find that quite uncomfortable. Now, again, you might want to put a cushion on the top of your feet as well to make that a little bit more comfortable for yourself. And in an ideal world, the tops of the feet would be on the floor, but it might be that you need to have those toes tucked under, and then we can work towards flattening them out, and that is absolutely fine. And we're going to bring the hands so the hands come underneath the shoulders. Now, I'm just going to come out of hands and knees for a second because I want to tell you something about your hands. So in yoga, when we go into our hands and knees, this is a extension of the wrist. So we're basically bringing our hand back and then we're putting weight onto it. Now, it is very common for beginner yogis to experience not wrist pain. If you get pain, then obviously stop, but just like soreness in the wrist as the wrist builds the strength. So there's a couple of things we can do to help minimize that. One of the things we can do is really make sure that you are spreading your fingertips as much as possible. So people, when they put their hands on the floor, they tend to put it on and kind of have their hands like this, but really spread your fingertip. And what that's going to do is it's going to take the weight out of the wrists as much as possible. The other thing you can do is just make sure that you are pushing down with the top of your index finger. So your index finger, when you push down with your index finger, that's going to take the weight out of this side of the wrist. So what can happen is when we put the hands on the floor, all of the weight rolls into this side of the wrist. But if we push our index finger down into the mat, that's going to help us spread the weight. The other thing we can do is take the angle out of the wrists a little bit. So the further back we have the hands, can you see that the further back we have the hands, the deeper the angle is? So you can work with just simply bringing the hands a little bit further forward as well, and that's going to help take the angle out of the wrists. So once you're in a lovely comfortable position, if you need to take a break at any time, feel free to take a break. We're going to do something called a cat-cow. So a cat-cow is a back mobility exercise. It's so good for the spine. But we're going to start with our pelvis. So can you remember in the first class when we were doing those pelvic tilts where we were pouring the water out the front of the bucket and then the back of the bucket? I want you to just do that a couple of times. So don't even move the rest of your back at all. Just go forwards and backwards a few times. And this is called a pelvic tilt. And this is the beginning of a cat cow. Let's do one more like that. And then let's come out of that. I want you to give your wrists a circle, give them a rest. And then we're going to come back into our hands and knees. And we're going to work a little bit more with this cat-cow. So I want you to tuck your tailbone under, and that means pouring the water out the back of your pelvis. And I want you to imagine there's a piece of string between your shoulder blades, and you're going to start to round in your back like an angry cat. Now try not to start to bend your elbows. Keep your elbows as not, don't ram them straight, but don't let them bend either. And then starting from the tailbone, I want you to go one vertebrae at a time to a flat back. Let's just play with that in your own time. So as you're breathing out, you're going to round in your back. And as you're breathing in, you're going to come to a flat back. Now, if breathing in time just confuses you, take the breath out of it and obviously breathe, but don't do it in time with the movement. That's fine. The breath will come, I promise. One more. And then we're going to come to a flat back and we're going to have a rest in a position called child's pose. So you're going to bring your big toes together. And I want you to widen your knees and you're going to send your bum back towards your heels. Now, if you have any knee issues, I'm going to give you a different position to do, but you're going to send your bum back towards your heels. Now, you might feel a stretch on the front of your feet. Again, you might want to put a blanket or a cushion under the tops of your feet. And then you're going to walk your hands forward, really spread the fingertips, lengthen through the back, and then maybe bring the forehead down towards the mat. Now, as you stay there, I'm just going to give my mouse a little wiggle. There we go. As you stay there, I want you to just let the shoulders relax and take some big deep breaths. Your head does not have to come all the way down towards the mat, and your bum does not have to come all the way towards the heels. Give yourself as much space for your body as you need. Big deep breaths. And then let's make our way back up to hands and knees. So we did a cat stretch before, and now we're going to do a cow stretch. So with a cow stretch, I want you to pour the water out of the front of your bucket and lengthen up through the back. So you're going to start to come into a back extension or a back bend. But what I don't want you to do is just like flop in the lower back. I want you to really lengthen and almost imagine I'm going to poke you just below your belly button and how your body would like resist. So if I was going to poke you just below your belly button, your body would be like, no, I don't like that. So I want you to engage like I poked you just below the belly button, and that's going to help support the lower back muscles as you come into that extension. And then we're going to go back into that cat stretch. Let's do that one more time. So you're going to come forward. You might look forward here, but you don't need to look up towards the ceiling. Don't like crank your head up. And then we're going to go back to our child's pose. Now, if you have sore knees in that position, you're going to do a position called polar bear instead, where you keep your bum in line with your knees, but you bring your forearms down towards the mat, and then you let the back of the head release. And then you're just going to wiggle your bum from side to side. Very nice. Let's all meet back up at hands and knees. And we're going to do a low lunge. So again, even if you haven't already, now might be a nice time for you to take a blanket and pop it under your knees. And then you're going to step your leg between your hands. And you might need to use your hand to get it there, and that's fine. I want you to bring your knee so your knee is in line with your ankle. And then we're going to come up into a high-low lunge. So this is a balance. And one of the reasons why sometimes people struggle to balance in this position is simply because they have their foot too much in line with this back leg. Now, if you think of it in terms of physics, the wider the base, the more stability. So feel free to play with where this leg is to give you the most amount of support. The other thing is, so different back leg placements is going to give you different things. So the further forward you have these hips, the more you're going to get a stretch in this front of the, what's this called? Your hip flexors. Totally forgot the name of that for a second. It flew out of my head. Um, but you don't need to bring your hips really far forward to get that stretch. The best way to do it is actually to once again think about that pelvic bucket and just make sure that you're not, because as you come down like this, what might start to happen is that you actually lose it from the hip and it starts going into the lower back. So as you start to come forward, this starts to happen and you start to get it into the back rather than the hips. So if you keep your uh, back hip just slightly in front of that back knee, but make sure that you're not sticking your bum out. So come to a neutral pelvis bucket. Bring your chest, your chest is in line with your hips. Really make sure that back knee is going to be supported. You want to put some um, cushions, whatever you need, under that back knee. And you might find that this back foot doesn't want to be flat. You might want to tuck those toes under. That is fine. And then we're going to reach both of the arms up into the air. Big deep breaths here. And then we're going to bring the hands down. Step that front leg back. And we're all going to go into polar bear here. So you're going to bring your forearms down towards the floor and just give your bum a little wiggle from side to side. Let's do the same on the other side. So you're going to step your left leg through and you might want to pick it up and bring it there. And then we're going to come up into that high-low lunge. Relax the shoulders down. Let's check in with that pelvis bucket. Make sure that back knee is lovely and supported. And what can happen can you remember in the first class when we were bringing the arms up, and as we were bringing the arms up, the chest was lifting and the bum was sticking out? That can happen here as well. So you start to feel like you're getting a really big stretch here, but actually it's happening more in the chest. So let's just make sure that we've got a lovely neutral pelvis bucket. And then we're going to reach the arms up into the air. And this is, I'm sure you can feel, good for building strength, stamina, and flexibility in the hips and the legs. One more big deep breath here. And then let's bring the hands all the way down. Step that front leg back. Give yourself a little wiggle. And we're going to come up to standing to do a little bit of revision from last week. So we're going to do our warrior two position that we did last week. So you're going to bring your legs wide. We're going to turn the front foot so it's facing the short end of the mat. Hip, knee and ankle are all in line. And then you're going to bring your back foot ever so slightly turned in. Let's bring our shoulders over our hips. And you're going to bring your arms parallel with the floor. Relax the shoulders down. Flip that front arm up towards the sky. And as you're breathing in, we're going to reach the arm up. And as you're breathing out, you're going to come back to your warrior two. Just go at your own pace there. Breathing in, reach the arm up. Breathing out, warrior two. Let's do one more like that. Breathe in, reach the arm up. And breathe out, warrior two. Let those arms float down. Turn your feet to face the front. And you can either swap legs or We're just going to turn to the other side. Swap direction, I mean. Bend into your front knee. Bring your arms parallel with the floor. Breathe in as you reach the front arm up. Breathe out back to warrior two. Just go at your own pace. Just enjoy having nothing more to do. Then breathe and move. Lovely. Let's do one more. And then we're going to bring the feet forward. Give yourself a little wiggle. We're going to step the feet together. We're going to do a revision of a pose that we did at the foot in week 1, which is tree pose. So you're going to let your right heel lift. If you need to hold onto a wall, that's absolutely fine. Let the knee come out to the side. Stay there if that feels nice, or maybe pick it up, bring it to just above the ankle, or to just above the knee. This is going to depend on how slippy your trousers are, just as much as anything else. And then we're going to reach both of the arms up into the air. Hold on to the wall if you need to. And this is such a good pose to get us into the moment, because you can't really think about anything else when you are balancing. So if you ever find that your brain is going 10 to the dozen and you need it to stop, just stand on one leg. Bring the hands down, bring that leg down. Let's give our supporting leg a lovely shake. And we're going to do the same on the other side. So you're going to peel your other heel up, let the knee come to the side, pick up the foot, bring it to just above the ankle or to just above the knee. Bring your hands into the center. And then maybe reach the arms into the air. Now, holding onto a wall or needing support does not make your pose any lesser. Taking support when we need it, accepting where we are, starting from where we are, that is the integral part of yoga. That is what yoga is. It's not about whether you can stand on one leg or not. And then bring the hands down, bring that leg down, give your supporting leg a good old shake, and then we're going to make our way all the way down. And we're going to come to lie down. So if you're doing this course without the lying down, you can do this sitting up or on a chair. That's absolutely fine. And we're going to come to lie on our backs. And then you're going to pick up your right foot and you're going to hug your right knee in towards the chest. We're just going to take a couple of breaths here. Now, if you have shorter arms and you can't bring the hands around the front of the thigh, you can hold behind the back of the thigh, or you can even just hold onto the front of your trouser. That's completely fine as well. Bring that leg down and swap sides. Bring that leg down, and we're going to try Shavasana as a relaxation position today, where we extend both of our legs out, and then you're going to let both of your feet just relax out to wherever they want to go. Give your legs a little wiggle here, and then just let them relax. And then you're going to bring your hands by the side, palms facing upwards. And out of all of the yoga asana, Shavasana is the most important. This is the point where our bodies and our minds start to integrate everything that we've just learned, everything that we've just done. And it gives us a moment to reconnect back to ourselves. So give yourself a moment here. And we're going to do a body scan where I say parts of the body, and you're going to bring your awareness to that part of the body, and then you're going to let yourself relax. And this is a very ancient form of relaxation, sometimes referred to as a yoga nidra. Bring your awareness to your toes and let your toes relax. Relax the bottom of the feet. Bring your awareness to your ankles and let your ankles relax. Let the backs of the legs relax. Relax your hips, your belly. Relax your shoulders. Relax the muscles in the chest. Let your arms relax. Relax your fingers. Relax the muscles around the face. Let your mind relax. And every other part of the body that we haven't mentioned, let it all relax. And take the biggest breath that you've taken all day and sigh it out. And then do that again. Take an even bigger breath and sigh it out. And then we're going to make our way up slowly to a seated position. Then you're going to rub your hands together. And when you've got some warmth there, you're going to place that over your face and over the back of your neck. And let that go with you for the rest of the day. Thank you so much for joining me on this. You've done really well. You've done 3 classes now, so well done. And if you have done the class, please do let me know because I love hearing from people who've done the class. So hopefully I'll hear from you soon.